All right, so day 3 of the video creation animation process, whatever you want to call it. So day 3 of that. So today we're going to work on the lighting. And if you haven't seen the previous posts, go and check them out. And I'll probably going to leave them somewhere here. And yeah, so about lighting, before we dive into it, I really thought when I first started 3D that I had to recreate whatever I see in the real world in order to actually make it look good. However, I was actually thinking the wrong way because I wanted the cinematic look, but lighting it in a normal way, like a real world way, which is not that cinematic, or at least like, the cinematic of like movies, Movies are lit in a particular way. They're not like shot in the sun or whatever. Sometimes they do, but even in the sun, they do have artificial lighting to actually light the subject better, separate it from the background. So it was something that I know it might be obvious to someone, but maybe there's someone out there like me that actually is not thinking it that way. So when you're doing 3D, the 3-point lighting rules, the shadow side, all that good stuff that you can check it out, or maybe we can do a video in depth. But all that good stuff, it's very important also in 3D. And actually I noticed that a lot of artists that do cool shit, they actually use shadows to their advantage a lot. Keep that in mind while you're working on that. Just my 2 cents. So anyway, we are again in our project. We're gonna open up the level sequence and it's gonna update the level the way we want to. So right now, as you see, the lighting is pretty flat and it's not that interesting, right? Since it's gonna be an inside type of environment, I'm gonna actually block this. So I'm just gonna close it right here. It's random, so like the camera doesn't even see it, so we don't care, right? So right now inside, as you can see, the lighting is already different. We're still having some light shining through the glass. And actually I don't want that. So, or at least I want to control that. So 2 things that we can do is, first of all, we delete all this stuff, right? And now everything should go to black. Or even, look at this. Look how crazy of a change that made. There must be some sort of like lighting source, I guess from this windows, because if I remove them, then we should go dark. Yeah, exactly. So that material, I didn't know that, but that material actually had lights in it. So we're gonna actually keep the ceiling. Emissive mask level, as you can see, it's 0.15. So if I do 0, it should turn everything to black. There we go. So now we removed the lighting, right? And we're gonna start with our subject. In Unreal, there are 4 actually type of lights. The first one is directional light. It's just for like sun type of source lighting. For the point light, then there is the point light. The point light is literally like a bulb. So it will lit up everything 360 around it. Then the spotlight is kind of like, the theater type of spotlight, where it's like there's a cone and the light shines inside that cone. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. You can make an inner circle that actually it's brighter than the outside, so you have a nice fade towards the outside. So you can do a lot of stuff. And then there's rec light. Rec light is basically a classic light for any 3D artist out there. It's just a rectangle that shines the light, and you can open up the little wings of the light so that it spreads out nicely, or it's just focused on something. But yeah, so we're gonna use rec light, but we haven't done a very important thing. So Unreal has this thing that it auto exposes the camera to the light. So if I move Let's see, this is a bad example though. Yeah, you can see here. So it gets brighter when I go to the dark side, and then it kind of dims everything out. So it changes the exposure throughout, and we don't want that. So how to prevent that? We go here to the place actor, and then we go to visual effect, post-process volume. Post-process volume is basically your VFX master control, everything that it's in Unreal basically, or like most of it, most of the useful stuff. Only thing is that if you change something right now, it's only going to happen inside the boundaries of the box. In order to change that, you go to the search bar, you type unbound or UNB or infinite extent, whatever, and you activate this. So now it's going to get the whole scene. So everything, all the changes that you're going to do here are going to affect the whole scene. So what we're going to do now, and then we can dive into that a little bit maybe later. You activate all this, then you go to auto exposure basic, or actually manual you can do, and everything just turns, black. Let's do basic. And then here you can actually tell him, okay, I want the minimum, EV 100 to be 1, also the maximum to be 1. And what that means is that it's not gonna, try to fix it. It's always that exposure, that's it. So right now, everything is dark. So you're like, well, what's the point of it? Well, we have way more control over our lights. So right now, it's very important that first we kind of like light the scene so that we know what's happening. As you can tell, like all the details are coming out. The hair and the veins and stuff. So we're getting there. But we gotta see, there we go, what the camera sees. So bottom right, it's pretty dark, but it shows us what's going on. So I want to recreate lighting wise. I kind of like this one, to be honest, but it's not as cinematic as maybe this piece right here or this one. Like, look at how nice the shadows flow. So let's light the scene, try to light the scene so that it's more like daylight, because it's not going to be as cinematic inside of a museum, right? So we're going to bump up the light. One thing to notice in Unreal is that in the light settings, you have these two lightings that says indirect lighting intensity and volumetric scattering. Volumetric scattering, I'm going to show you later what that does. And the indirect lighting, you're basically telling Unreal how much you want the light to spread. Right now I have it to 0, so now it only goes inside the attenuation radius. And if I increase it, it's going to touch the walls and it's going to light up the walls. But everything that it doesn't touch, or everything that is not inside that radius, then it's not going to be lit. If you increase the indirect lighting, however, it's going to bounce all over. So it's a matter of like preferences. I think we're going to go with 2-ish, because I'm thinking that this is going to be like a presentation type of reveal. So it kind of needs a little bit of drama, or like dramatic lighting. I'm going to add another light, try to see where to place the shadows on my character. And obviously this is a little bit too dark, but I'm gonna get there. So let's see, let's show a little bit of the background, of course. It's kind of long. So what I usually do is go to the extreme, so put a lot of lights and then try to remove them and see, maybe this one is doing too much. Maybe this one is fine, you know? So that kind of stuff. This bothered me since I placed it. Since they're kind of like attached to the air, I'm not gonna spend some time on that. I'm just gonna raise them up. Only what the camera sees, remember, and bring them down. There we go, much better. Okay, one thing that I was thinking yesterday when I was watching TV is I actually think that it would pop a lot more if, like, his whole background, it's red. You know? I would lose, though, these type of details. Or if I do this, oh yes, much better. It feels a little bit disconnected, to be fair. This one should be all gold, probably. So now what we're gonna do is starting to remove the lighting, right? So we remove all the lights. To not be influenced is start randomly. So, boom, do I need this light? It could be maybe a little less intense, you know? Something like this. Then, it's too close to it. To rec light 2. Do I need this light? Yeah, it brings out some details. Then do I need this light? However, I don't like the little spot, dark spot right there. It's kind of annoying me, so I'm gonna tilt it a little bit upwards. There you go. Right behind the head, the shiniest point. Okay, then let's do rec 10. Probably a little too much attention to that. So we're gonna do the same thing for the other one. This one, I don't know about this one. This one is definitely good, like a nice rim light. This one, again, a little bit, probably too ambitious. Yeah, that's fine. Again, this one, yeah, I'll leave it, but it's just like pretty much no point on it. This one may be a little less. There we go. So one thing that we could check, since I'm seeing the shadows right here, this shadow right here, it looks like a little jiggery. So I'm just trying to see if I activate ray trace shadows right here, it's gonna change anything. It's actually gonna add a lot of mess all around it, and that's because of nanite. So in order to actually fix it, you disable nanite, you apply changes, and boom, it's going to remove those shadows. So when we see artifacts, we know it's because of that. All right, so this is it. This is the video for today. I hope you learned something a little bit. I hope you're enjoying this series. And if you haven't checked it out, go check the other ones. I know you already spoiled yourself with like showing you how it's looking now. But if you want to see how we built the environment, how we actually created the statue, then go back and see day 1 and day 2. So, all right, peace.